friends. Have I gotten your attention yet? What do you think of the antenna and my own special wings? Well, I am here to talk to you about monarch butterflies. Let's look at the insect in question. This is in fact a male. He's got one spot there. He's actually got another one over here, but he didn't see fit to show us that one this time. Anyway, this is what we're talking about. We don't see tigers, we don't see elephants. We're not in India, we're not in Africa. But here in the Midwest Flyway, the monarchs fly through. They want to lay their eggs here, they want to have their babies here, and you and I, we want to help them. So let's see what we can do. All right, some statistics. Number of monarchs in 1996. Ooh, 1 billion. That's a very big number. Number in 2013, oh, 33 million. That's not so many, and they need our help before they become endangered. Now, I don't know if you understand how our monarchs that we see in the summer here in Illinois have come from Mexico and are flying back to the Midwest, and then they go on to Canada. Oh my gosh, then they reverse the trip. What is wrong with these bugs? Whatever. Another statistic. They fly miles flown by monarchs from wintering grounds in Mexico to the United States and Canada. 3,000 miles they fly. Wow, think about that. Okay, I think I've got your attention. My name is Kay MacNeil, and I am on the board of Garden Clubs of Illinois. Now, my actual title is Bee, Bird, and Butterfly Chairman. I'm always a little afraid they're going to add bats to that title, but so far so good. And now that we're discussing bats, which we aren't really, I will add 3,000 insects a night. I know a lot of you are saying, I don't want to know anything about bats. Oh yes, you do. That's all you need to know. 3,000 insects a night. Moving back to monarchs. Okay, we can do something to help monarchs. And what is it? All a monarch butterfly wants is a milkweed plant. And we can grow those here. They are perennial. They will come back for you every year. Don't you love something besides a petunia that you don't have to pay for every year? Sure you do. And there are many kinds which are not invasive. So I think I've got your attention now with my cute antenna, my adorable wings, and I think you're going to keep watching this video because I'm going to tell you a lot more stuff about monarchs. As part of my thing of being on the board of butterfly moment, as part of my thing of being on the Garden Clubs of Illinois, of course I'm supposed to promote butterflies, etc., etc. So our Garden Clubs of Illinois president at one board meeting said, you know, we've got some money in the President's Project Fund. How about if all you people come up with ideas? I called her that afternoon. I said, I think gardeners all over the state of Illinois want to help bring back monarchs. And I said, Carol, let's help monarchs. I said, this is something that all garden clubs can do. Everybody, no matter what age, can participate. And I think this is great. She talked to the rest of the board. Yes, they were in. Well, as you know, if it's your idea, what? You're the chairman. So here I am, chairman for Garden Clubs of Illinois, Milkweed for Monarchs program. Now, let's look at some things we can do with common milkweed and can create fields of this. Monarchs want big fields of milkweed. Oh, did you see that? Did you see those monarchs that passed my nose? Well, this is all part of the fun. I have a garden filled, and we are in my garden, I have a garden filled with butterflies, and isn't this wonderful? Anyway, what a bunch of little fussy movie stars coming by. Let's move on and look at some common milkweed. I am out in the field behind my yard, and I am very fortunate that this has been left uncut. And you probably can see behind me all of these wonderful common milkweed plants, which are huge. And this is one of the things you're going to want to look for when you're looking for seed, is to find some roadside or a field that has a lot of that. Remember, always ask permission. You may find some prairie people who will have extra seed, but you want to find seed. Now, do we all understand that monarch butterflies only lay their eggs on milkweed. You put monarch caterpillars in with grass, they would rather drop dead than eat that junk. No, they only want their milkweed. We don't know why. I don't even think humans ever eat milkweed. Anyway, this is what a big field should look like. You can spot this kind of a look from the road and know that there's a big stand of milkweed. Now, I'm going to show you some close-ups of what the flowers look like and the start of the pods, the seed pods look like. Now, this is a flower. We call this an umbel, U-M-B-E-L. And you'll see some milkweed beetles on here. There are like 4 different kinds of beetles that will eat 4 different parts of this plant, which is sort of interesting. But isn't this the best flower? And I wish I could tell you about the fragrance. Coming out in this field when this is all in full bloom is just knocks your socks off. But this is common milkweed, Asclepias syriaca. Oh my gosh, and look who we have here. Hi, look at this guy. Oh my gosh, he's so fat. Have you been having a good time eating your milkweed? Can we see him? Okay, here we see the caterpillar, loving his milkweed. This guy is so big, he's about ready to go into chrysalis. I'll tell you something about the chrysalis. It's under the striped skin. I don't know what that means. Think about it. This is quite the creature. Another thing that is really interesting about this plant, now as you can see, some of these flowers are getting to be at the end of their life and they will turn into pods because they've been pollinated. But look at this. Here is where we see the pods. And these are what you're going to look for, but it'll be twice as big as this by fall. At some point it will crack open and you'll see all this fluff. If you are opening this pod at the correct time, you will be able to hold the fluff in your finger and strip off the seeds. Think about it. But this is what we want, the seeds out of these pods. I'll tell you a little story too. This is such a fascinating plant. An interesting thing about the milkweed is that in World War II, they used to fill Navy life preservers with kapok, and from the kapok tree in the Philippines. But that was impossible to get. So what to do? Somebody discovered that milkweed plants, the fluff from milkweed, is water resistant. Oh, what a great filler for Navy life vests. But how were they going to get somebody to collect fluff from milkweed plants? Well, somebody must have noticed that Illinois used to have a lot of it along the roadsides before we had so many genetically modified fields, and they decided they would try filling the life preservers with milkweed fluff. Okay, so they sent out onion bags to the kids in the one-room schoolhouses around Illinois. If you go online and look at these stories, they are so adorable. One teacher wrote, well, I've only got 12 kids in my school and they're pretty small for their age, but we collected 50 pounds of milkweed fluff. Stories like that, so adorable, so cute. Anyway, I had one lady come up to me and say, oh, when I was a kid, I had to collect fluff for life preservers. And I said, were you in a one-room schoolhouse? She said, how would you know that? Hey, the Monarch lady knows stuff. Now here's a nice stand of common milkweed, and you probably can see behind me a lot of plants that look like this rubber tree plant. Common milkweed. Now, used to be, Illinois was covered with this stuff all along roadsides. I've had so many farm kids that tell me, oh, their father made them pull this stuff because if the cow ate it, it made the milk taste bad. I asked a horse lady, she says the horses are too smart, smarter than cows, and they spit it out. Anyway, if you go out south of Chicagoland right now, you'll see that all the fields are perfect. They're soybean fields. Do not have a single weed in them. And why is that? Because that's all genetically modified and sprayed with Roundup. Makes a big difference in seeing this roadside stuff. So we need more areas like this. And if I say so myself, I did this with my own little bunch of pods. They're under the leaves, you know. Oh, nice orange ladybug. But this is how you want your field to look. Lots of milkweed. Look, I've got one of the other milkweed beetles for you. Oh, don't fly away. And he came out of, well, we know the technical word, umbel. There he went. Woohoo. Okay, Monarch friends, now I'm going to teach you how to become the mother of a caterpillar. And you are now thinking to yourself, what can that possibly mean and why would I do that? Well, the reason that you are going to bring in monarch caterpillars and raise them in swell big pretzel kegs on your kitchen table is because if you leave the caterpillars out in nature, there's a whole bunch of stuff that wants to eat them. Spiders, wasps, birds. Now, scientists tell us that birds don't eat monarch caterpillars because they taste bad. Ooh, but they all had to try the first one now, didn't they? So, you have a 90% chance of raising and releasing a successful adult monarch butterfly if you bring it inside and raise it out. The percentages of what happens if you leave it out in nature, and I have people who say, oh no, I think we should leave it out there and let nature take its course. Ooh, it will disappear. I first got started in the caterpillar raising business because I would get the kids home from school, I'd get the husband home from work, I'd get everybody lined up so they could see my beautiful caterpillar I'd found that day. Oh, he's gone. So now we bring him in and you're going to have a lot more success doing this. You're also going to want to send for my information sheet called How to Be a Mother to a Caterpillar. You probably see that going along. All right, let's look at some guys. And here you see my big jars. I have these all up and down my table in the summertime. Makes it for interesting eating. A lot of people buy terrariums. I have a friend who has a deal. She only buys terrariums at garage sales if they are less than $3. So you work out your own little thing and what you want to put your caterpillars in. But what you want to do for sure is have, I'm going to take my guys out now. You are going to love this. Your friends will find caterpillars in their yard. They will bring you the little leaf. What you want to do is make sure you always have lots of nice milkweed in here. And remember, monarchs only eat milkweed. If you put grass or some other plant in here you think is a milkweed and they don't eat it, ooh, you've had a clue. All right, what I've done is taken these out of the big pretzel containers, and this one I have a whole bunch of little guys, and we're going to show you a close-up of a little teeny weeny one. But don't forget, when the egg hatches, that caterpillar is only as big as a comma on a printed page. So to tell the truth, I really like to leave the little ones out till they get a little bit bigger. Then I feel comfortable bringing them inside and working with them. Now, this is what you don't want to have happen. This shows you caterpillars on with a flower tube, and it's 11 o'clock at night. Oh, and suddenly you realize your caterpillars are out of food. What to do? Well, you're going to put on your forehead flashlight and go out and find some darn milkweed and move them onto it. All right, now in here, whoops, there he is underneath there again. Okay, we've got lots of guys. And what you want to do is when you're bringing them fresh food, you want to be sure you clean the frass out from underneath in the pretzel container. Now you see this has been pretty well eaten, and this is a flower test tube. You know that you got roses. Hopefully someone sent you roses and they had these on the bottom and you saved them, because this works great. You want to be sure that you put the milkweed in water, and you want to be sure that you either have it covered with a lid like this or with double tin foil, because oh, what a surprise. Monarch caterpillars are a little bit stupid, so they will keep climbing down the food and will go into the water and drown. And we would feel very bad about that. Okay, let's look at our next little glass here and look at some chrysalis. Now, this is what the chrysalis looks like up close. And apparently this gold business and the gold spots on the bottom, those are for air exchange. Now we wanted to show you also some close-ups of the chrysalis. Do you see the gold line and the gold spots? This is really a stunning thing. And the first day you can start to see the wings through the chrysalis. This is just the thinnest of membranes. And then it'll turn black the day before. And out he comes. And one thing that happens after your butterfly is going to turn black, the next morning he will have hatched, and you're going to have to wait, because remember, he is coming out of this little green thing, and there's a lot to unfold. So he will spend a good part of the morning plumping up his wings and moving the fluid out of his central body and into his wings. So he's ready to be released. You'll know that he's ready to go out into the big world, and you are ready to be a proud monarch mother. So that's when you take them outside. You put your arm down in your big pretzel container. They will climb up. Sometimes they linger, check out the world. Other times they just fly off and get on with their monarch business. Okay, here is, oh look, two little ones both together. Are we seeing this? And this little teeny weeny guy, that's why I don't like to bring the little ones in, because if your milkweeds slump or start to curl up a little bit, you have a harder time keeping track of him. You feel a little nervous moving him around. Isn't he cute? But I couldn't resist bringing him in, even though he's awfully tiny. They can get, oh, we got a small guy here too, but we've got a big guy. Ah, wakey, wakey. Come on, boys. Whole jar of big guys. Before they go into the chrysalis, they're going to hang in a J. And I don't know if this guy is getting ready to make a J, but he's an unusual color. He's getting just a little brownish. So hard to say exactly what's going to happen here, but he's awfully fat. So these guys are about ready to do their chrysalis thing, I would say. Now we have a couple little movies for you that will show you how this caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly stuff really works. Here you see the stripy skin of the caterpillar is splitting, and you'll notice he's hooked up by his little foot up there. He's been hanging in a J for a day, and then all of a sudden he starts cracking his skin like this. And the thing is, the chrysalis is inside that stripy skin. How does that happen? I have no idea. I am not a science girl here by a long shot. All right, close-up of the foot up there is attached. And caterpillars, monarch caterpillars constantly have this little webbing that they use to hold themselves on leaves. And you'll be able to see how he's bringing his little foot out, and he is looking for where the J and where the caterpillar skin was attached. So he is going to find that little webby spot, and believe me, this web is really strong. I mean, these guys could withstand a hurricane and not blow off the leaf. So we're going to watch this while he's still trying to find the webby spot. And ha! Has he got it? Yes. Now, all that black stuff, you can see the antennas hanging down. All of that is skin and stuff that the chrysalis is done with. And right now the chrysalis does not look like the picture that we showed you, all smooth and green. But as it hardens up, it will shrink up, shorten up, and look like the chrysalis picture that we showed you. But this is basically looks like an alien organism right now, which certainly is interesting. But but there's just a lot of writhing around for this guy to do before he gets that skin sloughed off. Okay, he is still working. Oops, skin is getting ready to drop. But look at that little foot and how beautifully that attaches with all of that action and motion. And I have yet to ever see a chrysalis not stay attached. Okay, there he is. Now it just is up to him to shorten up. And you see how you see these unusual ridges going up. But then it'll turn to that solid green. The gold line gets on there. And the little yellow, the little gold dots for the breathing. So this guy's winding it up here. Now our next clip will be about, let's see the butterfly come out. And here you can see we've got lots of chrysalises. All right. Butterfly number 1 is ready to come out. And this happens so fast. And you'll see that the other one's shaking. You know, that one's certainly working on it. I have no idea what they're doing, but it involves plumping up. Now when this guy comes out, look at how short and tiny those wings are. What kind of a miracle is this? And you see how fat the body is. It's a little shadowed there, but that body has all of the fluids he needs to make those wings huge and look like they're supposed to. And you'll see there's a lot of mouth action here. And the legs are very stickery. When we go to take out butterflies, and if a little kid says that he wants to help get the butterfly out of the can, I always say, now the legs are going to be a little stickery. Is that okay? And depending on the answer, we let the kid help get the monarch out of the can and let the butterfly climb up his arm. But those feet are very prickly. All of that juice that's in the body, that will all be pumped into the wings. Bigger, bigger. And what he's hanging on is the chrysalis skin. And look at how thin that membrane is. Again, this is all so thin and so fraught with the possibility for an error somewhere. I mean, when something's that thin, you think, well, what if they split it too soon or whatever? But there'll be a lot of twisting and turning and working of the mouth parts too. I don't have any idea what that all means, but apparently it's crucial in the process of the plumping up. We'll just watch for a bit. And here is monarch number 2. Now, when I first saw this guy come out and saw how huge his body was, I thought, well, maybe, and his wings seemed a little small, and I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with him, and he's not going to be successful. But I'm happy to tell you that you will get to see him be successful. Notice the juice that they also squirt extra juice that apparently is left over out of their body, and it's orange. Go figure. Here's a good shot that shows the chrysalis hanging there, how perfect that thing is, and they just get a little split going in there, and bang, they are out of there. It was really hard to get the movies of this because you would just see a little wiggling and think, oh, we'll get set up here, and then he was already out. But this guy has a really big body. And as you can tell, we have many more to go. that other little black thing that's there on the ground next to the left of the glass, that is just a leftover piece from when one of the caterpillars went into the chrysalis. And that's just the skin and the antenna and so forth, you know, as it dropped off once he got the chrysalis attached. And that just sloughs off. Okay, that pretty much does it, and you have had a very intimate and personal view of the monarch becoming a mature butterfly. Okay, monarch friends, you've learned a lot about monarchs, and I bet you think you know plenty by now. But the truth of it is, you don't. So I've got more to teach you. And this involves the wee baby monarch in his egg, the little fellow. We have to help him then too. And before this, you didn't know what to do. So let's talk about monarch nurseries. Okay, the most important thing when you start bringing in eggs and little bitty caterpillars is your magnifiers. Now, I know there's some people that are going to watch this who say, I have lovely young eyes, fine and dandy, go to the dollar store and buy yourself magnifiers, like not just the ones, you want at least twos. Let me tell you, these things have saved baby monarchs, baby caterpillars, a whole bunch of times. So this is your first thing that you need. Okay, then we're now going to zero in and see what we're looking for. Remember before I told you that when you are looking for eggs, they will be under the leaves. You will bend those plants over and look for something the size of a period on a page under the leaf. Now you have gone outside, you have looked at the milkweed, you have bent it over, you have found a white dot underneath that leaf, and you're thinking that probably is a monarch egg. Okay, you're going to rip that leaf off, you're going to bring it in, and you are going to start your little monarch egg bassinet. So special for those little young ones. Okay, let's do some close-ups. I want to be sure you know what this egg looks like. It is like a dot on a page, and it is off-white. Now, this is really interesting because when it's almost ready to hatch and that little caterpillar is ready to come out, it'll have a black dot on the top. Now here we see our newly emerged monarch, and he has gone back. He's eaten his way through the egg case to come out, and now he's gone back, and it looks like he is eating more of the egg case, which I'm sure is wonderfully nutritious for our newborn. Now, once it hatches, there are a couple days where you can hardly see them because they're so clear. They're like cellophane. But do not throw out any leaves and think to yourself, oh, there isn't anybody on there, I can throw this out. No, 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 no. You're not going to do that. I'm going to show you. All of your eggs are going to go in one little box just like this. Okay, what have we got here? All of these pieces have a little bitty egg on them, and then you start to get somebody like this, and you got a little hole in that. What does that mean? That's a little clue that there on the other side of this leaf is the teeny weeniest of caterpillars. This is like a comma on a printed page. We're talking less than a 16th inch. We're talking less than an 1/8 of an inch, okay? I mean, these guys are incredibly small. That's why you need your magnifiers. I always put all of the eggs together. And you'll notice in the bottom is a paper towel that is damp, and then you keep spritzing it. Let's give them a spritz. Shower coming, guys. All right. It keeps your leaves from rolling up, which is what you want to do. Then at night, once everybody's a little bit damp, not too damp, we're not going to fry them in a tropical environment here. Ooh, let's box them up. Perfect. All right, moving that guy out of the road. What have we got in my next box? Ooh, more spritzing. I can see the paper towels getting dry. Now, what size guys do we have here? Oh, look how cute. Can you see him? So that keeps all the guys that are just about the same size together in the box. Moving right along, this guy, all spritzed, all ready to go to sleep. Put his lid on, move him over. What do we got here? Oh, you are going to love this. Now, I don't know why this is, but for whatever reason, this size caterpillar apparently adored this monarch blossom. I think that's hysterical. Look at all those guys on there. And of course then, here's a whole box full of leaves, full of caterpillars, and they're all just about the same size. Now, what is in my last surprise box? You can see this box is getting a little bit dirty, a lot of frass, looking a little messy. And these guys are getting big. All right, about this time, I take like 5, 6, 7 of these guys and put them upright in a pretzel keg. And, you know, I have my special pretzels kegs like you saw earlier in the film, and yeah, these guys are big enough. They need to be separated out and put into either terrariums or something individual so they have plenty of room and you can keep the bottle or the keg clean. But all you're going to do is start out like this. Nice plastic box, nice damp paper towel. I usually lay a layer of leaves down in the box so that you've got this, a layer of clean leaves, and then you move the caterpillars over. Now, this looks like an odd flower arrangement, but one of the things about this is, you know, I've gotten a little tired of running out in the middle of the night to come up with milkweed for my caterpillars when they've eaten way too much stuff. So, if you keep a bunch of your milkweed in a container like this, then when you need new stuff and they've eaten everything, hey, you just come over here, snip this up, put it in your flower tubes, and you are good to go. Now, many of you watching will think, this lady is the monarch lady. She knows everything. This all works out perfectly for her. Well, I have a little confession to make. It's the problem of escapees. Now, what that means is I have my nice big caterpillars, so nice, in my pretzel kegs. Everybody's eating, everybody's happy, everybody's going to go into their chrysalis, everybody's going to do what they're supposed to, but somehow or other, once in a great while, these guys, what, are these Superman caterpillars, giant muscles? I don't know, but they lift this up and they escape. Oh, what does the monarch lady do then? I must show you just in case this ever happens at your house. Now this shows you the problem with escapees. Oh, how did that guy get out? How did he get over here? And what are we going to do about it? You know, this monarch season, I have had one escapee, and I like to keep track of how many caterpillars I have in a jug. Well, there's a little problem because I seem to have 4 escapees, and I've only found 2. I'm going to show you what you do when you have escapees, because we do not want monarch caterpillars flopping around in our high-ceiling living rooms, and they don't come down until, ooh, I can't even think about it. Okay, that's what to do. All right, getting out my equipment. Now here, you see sort of a gnarly twig. I think this would be a poor twig to hang a chrysalis on, because this is pine. It's got too many little sticky outy things that are going to tear monarch wings. Nah, we don't like that twig. How about this one? Nice and smooth, nice horizontal branch, perfect. Okay, this is a cube of Floral Arranger's Oasis. You know, you get the flower arrangement with the green stuff in it. Okay, we're going to keep this dry. We're going to shove it in here. And we are going to position this twig in there. It's perfect. All right. Oh, and get your snappy clips because you're going to need them. Now comes the tricky part, and no gasping is all I'm going to tell you. And this is something you don't let the kids do. Okay, you remember in the movie of the chrysalis being made, how the caterpillar put his little foot up there and he had his little cobweb and he made that so nice and tight. Okay, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to scrape him off of there. Actually, I think I can get a little piece of paper here with this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just leave him on this little piece of paper. The husband will probably be excited. His important article now has a hole in it. Are we seeing him? Okay. Now we're going to move him over to our little branch with our clips. Let's go back over there. On this chrysalis, I'm lucky because I got that little extra piece of paper. But you easily can just peel him off with a knife off of whatever surface he's on. Okay, now we're going to give him a little clip. Just like that. Are we seeing this? And you slide that on there like that. So neat. And he's ready to we just wait until he is ready to come out. So let's pop him in here. Oh, and we're not going to make the same mistake twice, are we? We're going to put a very secure top on this so that when he comes out as a butterfly, he'll have plenty of time to flap before we take him outside and release him. Now you've learned a couple of very important things, like how to take care of your babies, how to take care of your escapees. But we need more talk about plants. You need a yard filled with milkweed, and you may not realize this. All milkweeds, monarchs love all milkweeds, whether they are annual or perennial. And here in Illinois, we have at least 8, possibly 10 perennial milkweeds that you can grow in your yard. And you need to know what these are. You need to find a good native plant sale. This will be fun. Fill up that yard with milkweed. Now, a lot of people think that the only milkweed we have in Illinois that's good for monarchs is the common milkweed, the Asclepias syriaca. That is totally not true. Now, I've shown you a lot of common milkweed and the pods and the very interesting milkweed beetles that love to eat that milkweed. It's the only plant you'll ever find those very colorful guys on. And I'm going to show you pods in fluff. But a great plant is swamp milkweed. This is Asclepias incarnata. And this one is starting to fade, but it is pale pink. Now, a variation on this is called ice ballet, and it is white. The ice ballet is some kind of cultivar or a hybrid plant, but it turns out, oh, the monarch caterpillars like it just as much as they do the native prairie plant, the swamp milkweed. So let's look at another one. Now, this is butterfly weed. This is Asclepias tuberosa. It has a taproot, never travels by roots, not invasive at all. This one, I don't know that the monarchs like it quite as well because it's sort of a leathery leaf and a little thicker, but I have found certainly found caterpillars on this plant as well. Now I'm going to show you another one, a brand new one that comes from the East Coast. It's a native plant, but it is hello yellow. It's bright yellow. Let's go look at that. Now this is the other Asclepias tuberosa, hello yellow. Fabulous bright yellow color, and this year, for whatever reasons, mine's flopping over, which it doesn't normally do. But you'll see that it's got a pretty thick leathery leaf. So I don't know if what caterpillars think of that. I haven't really done any studies about that. But you'll notice that right behind it here is another tuberosa, but this one seems a little different. Can't explain it. A little compact, but a little bit darker orange. And oh my goodness, I am not setting these guys up. Better than that, there's another one. They're everywhere. Now this is a milkweed that's a little bit different looking. Doesn't have wide leaves. This is a thin-leafed milkweed. And I think I personally now am up to about I think something like 14 different milkweeds, but a bunch of them I planted this year, so they're not in bloom yet this year. But there's a green milkweed, there's a dark purple one, there's one called Sullivan's, but again, the white one with the little thin leaves, very interesting looking plant and very attractive. Okay, here I am showing you a bush that all butterflies, not just monarchs, all butterflies love for nectar. This is a non-native bush. It's a buddleia and called, no surprise there, called butterfly bush. And so it's good for them for food, but no butterfly lays its eggs on it. So when you're at a nursery and you say, oh, I need plants for butterflies, they'll sell you this, but yet what they aren't selling you is the specific one that is the best one for monarchs, which we now know is the milkweed. But this is a great plant to have in your yard. By the way, a lot of people have trouble with this. It dies after the first year. I always throw a bunch of chopped leaves into it in the fall and never cut the stems until spring. I just wanted to give you a close-up of what the white swamp milkweed looks like because it's very pretty, and it, oh boy, look who's here having a fine little lunch. I have to tell you, this year the monarchs and the caterpillars are everywhere, and this all started from me releasing 2 monarch butterflies, the first ones I had this spring, and since then we've had millions, well, not millions, but lots of caterpillars. This also shows you aphids. They come on the plant, they're no big deal about them. You wipe them off with your hand, preferably when you have a glove on, so they're not quite so mushy, and they're gone. Remember, no spraying. Now all the plants I've shown you up to this point have been perennials and non-invasive except for common milkweed. They aren't going to move. But this is tropical milkweed. That means it's an annual. Very good looking, much brighter color, pretty plant. I've got a couple other tropical milkweeds to show you. Here is another annual or tropical milkweed, and it's called hairy balls. And I think something to do with the pods, and I believe it will get white flowers, but as you can see, this is a big guy. This is another interesting tropical milkweed, and I don't know if it has an individual name, but it is yellow, as you see, and very good looking plant, and its leaves, you know, one of the tests is if it's a milkweed, is if it's going to get this white sap. All of them have this white latexy stuff. Indian folklore tells us that if you put this on planter's warts, they will disappear. I've had one success story, one that didn't work. So if you need it, try it yourself. Okay, here we see tropical annual milkweed again. This one is a solid orange. This is the Mexican milkweed with the 2 pretty, real dark orange and the medium orange. Now here is a clue. When you're looking for caterpillars, remember, the egg is stuck underneath the leaf. All eggs are under the leaf, so you're going to look under the leaf, and that's where you're going to find it. And when you see little eaten spots like this, take a peek, see who you find. Not seeing anybody today. He's probably moved to another part of the plant. Now what you're looking at is my back 40, and I have every plant, every flower in here is for wildlife. So if it's not for butterflies, it's for hummingbirds, or it might be a host plant, like milkweed is for monarchs, might be a host plant for a different butterfly. But what you want to have are perennials that bloom constantly. I see a monarch sailing through. I'm sure there are lots of bumblebees out there. But monarchs just love flat-faced flowers, like the sunflower, like the Joe Pye weed, like the black-eyed Susans, the phlox. They'll even try and get into hosta flowers, the real fragrant August lily. Okay, friends, now I want to be sure that you understand my Milkweed for Monarchs program and how you can help monarchs. But before we get to that, you'll get a laugh out of this. We have a little friend here who wants to come out into the world. Oh, it's a male. He has spots down here. All right, come on. Normally you would put your arm down in the jar and bring him out. And there you go. Have a good life. All right. Now, I want to be sure that you understand what you can do to help monarchs and how my Milkweed for Monarchs program works. Okay, first, important, tell others. If you understand this monarch stuff, you want to tell other people about it. And if you have milkweed seed to share, be sure that let's pass that milkweed seed around. Let's get some started in other people's yards. Now, after you've told others, and if you don't have that, and if you don't have milkweed seed, well, what are you going to do then? Can't find seed? Come to me. I have milkweed seed. First of all, if you send me $2 and a stamped self-addressed envelope, what am I going to send you? 3 kinds of milkweed and lots of literature. And the milkweed could be common milkweed, it could be swamp milkweed, it could be butterfly weed, it might be tropical milkweed, which is an annual. So you'll be surprised, won't you? So you get all of that for $2 and a stamped self-addressed business-sized envelope. Now, milkweed seed is very expensive. Butterfly weed seed is like $25 an ounce. When you equate that to a pound, do your math. You'll be surprised at how expensive this stuff is. I also sell very pretty, where's my pretty packet? Here I have a pretty packet of milkweed seed. This has all my information on it. It has everything about the Garden Clubs of Illinois website for Milkweed for Monarchs. So, you're going to want these. You can get 100 packets of these from me. So check out what the current price is at the end of the show. Okay, so this is another way. And wouldn't this be fun? Let's put these in holiday cards. Hey, don't your cousins want to know what you're doing and how much fun monarchs can be? Of course they do. All right. Oh, and don't forget, I'm going to be sending you lots of literature with both of these. I love literature. I've written it myself, so I'm going to send you copies of that, and you can hand out those copies to anybody that you want. Now, the third aspect of my program is that from all of you who have big acreage and have lots of milkweed, you're going to get common milkweed to me. You're going to pick those pods in the fall when they've just started to crack. I have people that drop them off on my doorstep. I have people that drop them off at the Garden Clubs of Illinois office in Elmhurst. Either way, however you want to get it to me. Okay, then if you have big acreage, I offer free milkweed. And think about how expensive that milkweed was per pound. I offer free milkweed pods for anyone with big acreage and a thing that they're doing for monarchs. So, get common milkweed pods to me. Then, if you need this stuff, you call me, 815-469-1294. You'll see that going across. And I will send you a box of milkweed pods, and you will just pay the amount that it says on the postage meter. How simple is that? So, the last thing is, how are we funding this? This is not a fundraiser for Garden Clubs of Illinois. We just try and cover our costs, and I have to tell you, I think most days I am probably not covering my costs. However, We have a GoFundMe page. I'd love to have you go to that and read what we have said about our efforts and the publicity that we want to do on behalf of Monarchs. You also can send donations to Garden Clubs of Illinois office in Elmhurst, either one of those. But we do need some funds to fund our program. And I'll tell you right now, my vision is a giant Monarch billboard on one of the very busy toll roads in Chicagoland. That's what we need to get out there and get people so they realize what we are doing for Monarchs and how they can help. Thank you, friends, for watching this video. I hope that you've learned something. Always remember, if you have questions, I'm always available by phone or email and willing to talk. Now you know a whole lot about Monarchs, and you may be saying by this time, that's more than I wanted to know about Monarchs. But I've shown you the plants, I've shown you how to raise out caterpillars, but wait, there's one more thing. I have to tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, it was time to go back to school and you're going to have your physical and all of that, and I had terrible rash up and down my arms. Well, the doctor my mother took me to, very, very smart man. He says to me, "Do you like caterpillars?" I replied, "Of course." "Well, yes, I do." And this is in the olden days when we had furry caterpillars everywhere. Well, he says, "Do you keep those in a box?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I do." And he said, "Do you take them out and let them crawl up and down your arms?" "Well, of course I did." He says, "There's the trouble. I don't know if you're allergic to the fur on the caterpillars or their little feet or whatever it is, but I think if you quit doing that, you won't have any more rash." Well, I don't know what that means, but anyway, good luck, good monarching, and have fun with this. And remember, I'm only a phone call or an email away. I'd like you to keep watching because I've got some great butterfly garden plant lists for you and some milkweed plant lists. And all of these plants you'll be able to find at a local garden center or online. And I think this will help you get your butterfly garden pulled together.